Hey everybody, it's Frank. Welcome to the Deep End. We're back, episode 183. We're discussing misconceptions and truths about the pool industry and also how to deal with this summer algae issues that we're just now really starting to get into with this warmer water. So let's learn some pool stuff.
Chlorine, you tested the water, but what does it mean? Take a dive into the deep end.
Just making sure.
All right, babe.
Hey, friends. Welcome to the Deep End with Frank and Jacque, his sidekick in life. And on the air,
yes. We're back.
Here we are.
Hey, yeah, we had a couple weeks off, y'all. Frankie been sick. Frankie been sick.
God love him and bless his heart with his cough. Meanwhile, I'm getting steroid shots the size of a ice pick in my neck and my back every week. So
I mean, the sooner you women understand that the reason
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
It's painful. In child, to birth a child,
you don't know.
So women can understand how painful it is when a man gets a cold, and the sooner y'all understand this, the easier your lives will be. It's been more than a cold, y'all.
I'm gonna call a wambulance.
It still ain't fixed.
No, if you don't stop
it may be
coughing,
mono or something. I don't know what it is. I
haven't allowed him.
It's probably from one of them nasty green pools I've been having to dive in, but it's been rough.
Yeah,
it's been
rough.
rough.
We had some technical stuff that wouldn't combobulate.
It was scary.
Yeah,
Thought I lost all of our content.
Yeah.
And I've been struggling. Finally found it. Was able to bring it back and save it. Rose it from the dead here as we celebrate Independence Day.
Yes, it is July 4th that we're
here. We're actually recording on July 4th.
We have a great friend in from New York City.
Because
it's his daddy's birthday on the 6th and his birthday on the 8th. So he flew in to do that, and he's known my kids since they were born.
Yes.
So he's coming to take some new family pictures tomorrow. Our
and
Austin babies.
He's somebody, y'all.
Here.
Yeah, Austin baby.
He just published his third book.
And these are photography books, and he's
ridiculous.
He's incredible.
He's taken
really
all of my theater headshots ever. That when I was a little kid, we didn't know each other. But I mean, as I've been an adult, he's, am I an adult? I don't know. He's taken all of those.
Married me, I don't say much.
I know, right? It doesn't give me any credibility whatsoever. But so we're in this last book, which is so fabulous. It's his third. So anyway, he's coming tomorrow. We've got
check out his books. What are they called? The first one was the sweater book.
Sweater book.
He's got some really famous people in this book, y'all.
Y'all, on the cover is Matthew Broderick and Sarah Jessica Parker. They're on the cover in the sweater.
Carol Burnett's in this.
Carol Burnett.
So
Cheetah
many.
Rivera, Betty Buckley. There's so many famous people and he just had an idea. He got a sweater at a thrift store that he bought in Dallas when he lived in Dallas. He's from here. And he just decided when people came over that he just put them in a sweat and just wrap them up. And
it became a thing.
Then he moved to New York, and we were nobodies taking sweater pictures here. Then he started writing letters to famous people to see if they would just take a picture in the sweater.
Yep.
And sure enough, they did. So the first book's a sweater book. The second book is kind of his autobiography, Lived in Crazy. And then the third book that just came out is I'm going to tell you a story.
And we're in it.
And we're in
mainly
it.
Jacque.
It's all of our family, but it's so sweet. It's just everybody that has touched his life that has encouraged him to do things. And so he has pictures that he took of them and then how they touched his life. I'm going to tell you a story about whoever it is and all the things. So anyway, Stephen Mosher, buy the book. Happy birthday to our Angelique on Sunday.
No, it'll be
the
Sunday.
6th. Yes,
Sunday.
It'll be Sunday. So we can't go through everything that happened the last 3 weeks or this.
No, and I apologize for that, but we're going to do some catch up. I got some. Finally got this content recovered.
We can't talk today.
That I did with Poolside Tech. Ben Forrest of Poolside Tech came in and got 2 episodes going to be releasing with him.
It's going to be fabulous. But you lost it.
Yeah, we lost it. We covered it. Now I just have to get it edited and get it out.
Yeah.
But everything's been going on. By the way, Lipton, sponsor me. Y'all, I drink gallons of this stuff.
It's diet green tea.
Diet green tea. I love this stuff. I hate tea. But boy, I drink this stuff by the gallon.
Because he doesn't like water.
No, so water's nasty. You know what fish do in that?
Okay.
It's gross, y'all.
Hush it. I'm drinking my water. Whatever.
But anyway.
With my pinky up.
All right. But, what I want to talk about this week, it's not going to be a very long show. But what I want to talk about this week is one, we got the Facebook group, the DFW Pool Owner group. And I started this group. It's on Facebook. We're at 10,500 members. We're adding anywhere from 30 to 50 new members per day. Mm-hmm. There's about 400,000 pools in the DFW area. There's a few pros, mainly pool owners. And I started this group because national groups, when it comes to your pool, y'all, you really need local advice. Now, there's a lot of stuff that transfers from point to point to point to point. It doesn't matter where you're at, that still applies. But when it comes to managing a pool, it's really important that you understand that there's differences from New York to Minnesota to Florida, Texas. There's little particular and peculiar things that are
indicative
that are specific to your local area, and local pros and local people answering your questions is going to be much better. It drives me crazy in these national groups. I love the national groups. I'm not dogging on you, but in these national groups, somebody will ask a question and there will be 15 opposing answers. Yeah. And I don't know how people are supposed to decide what's right, what's wrong. A lot of times people will just throw out an answer and it could have nothing to do with their situation. There's so many things like, hey, we need more information. What are your readings? What's going on here? What's going on here? Can you post a picture of your pool equipment? Things like that. But somebody local is going to that's familiar with the equipment that's in your area, that's familiar with the construction methods in your area, that's familiar
the weather
the that
soil.
You deal with, the soil, everything that you typically deal with in a particular area it's very important to understand that. Yes, national groups, I'm not dogging on you, like I said, but you really need somebody that understands your local environment and what goes on in your area. And also somebody needs to be in there deleting the bad answers. And that drives me crazy.
And if you don't have a local like ours is DFW, DFW is not indicative of what happens even in San Antonio.
No, San Antonio is going to be different. Houston's going to be different.
Everything's different.
But somebody needs to be deleting the bad answers. Yeah. Somebody needs to be kicking out the buttholes. Buttholes, you don't belong in a group. Yeah, it's a free country. All right, go start a butthole group.
We don't say the B word.
We do say the B word because some of y'all's buttholes, and you got no business being in a social group because you're antisocial. So get out of the freaking group. Go start a group, Buttholes for Pools. And then you can be buttholes to each other all you want. But if you be a butthole in my group, out you go. We don't allow businesses to dog on people. No, I am selectively a butthole.
You've been so non-people-y the last 2 weeks.
Oh no,
I don't even know what to do with
I'm
you.
not a happy sick person.
Non-people-y at all.
I'm antisocial when I get.
I'm so sorry, all of our friends and
employees. Yeah. When I'm not feeling good, don't rub me wrong. But anyway, so we got this group.
Live with him.
Well, we got this group, and somebody posted a really good question today.
Yep.
They said, "Hey, what should I expect from my pool company, my service company?"
Great question.
And because there's many things you can expect because there's many levels of service that different businesses offer. And somebody responded with, "To get ripped off." As in, that's what you can expect from a pool company.
Straight up went.
Ticks me off. Ticks me off. All right. Y'all, pool company, the average pool company, because it ain't like it was in the 80s and 90s. Yes, there still is the fly-by-night guys. There's still the guys that don't have adequate training. They have no business being in anybody's backyard. They have no business being in any business. They're unethical. They don't care to learn their trade. They're just out there. They just want to make a little extra beer money, so they're servicing pools. All right, they don't need to be taking care of people's pools, y'all. That's a $100,000 investment you have sitting in your backyard. You don't need some yahoo back there messing with your equipment, adding chemicals to your pool. They can cause a lot of damage and cost you a lot of money. And then when things get bad and you call them out on something, now their phone, it just goes to voicemail. They never call you back. You never got an address. But the pool business is much like many other businesses now. We've come a very long way. And there's many people that are in the industry like me, there's people been in 10, 20, 30 plus years that have never ripped a single person off. And it's disheartening when somebody says pool companies rip people off. Pool companies don't charge any more margin, actually far less margin on average than other industries. So pool businesses are not out there sticking it to people, y'all. We have to operate. We have to mark things up. Come on. We're a business. We're not a hobby.
And we're a small business.
We're a small
not a
business.
Big box.
It takes money to pay, first of all, to pay employees well. So you get a good, loyal, well-trained employee that wants to stay. You have to pay them well. Put good trucks on the road to buy good products to use in the swimming pools.
Right.
And all that. And if they got a retail store, I can guarantee you a pool store is making less margins on their products, on their good quality products, because that's what you will find in a pool retail store is good quality products. It's typically the same products they use in the field. So I guarantee you they're making less on their good products than Walmart's making on those garbage products they're selling you. And they're selling you inferior products, and they're making higher margins. But y'all don't have a problem with that.
Cheaper,
dang straight, it's cheaper. It should be cheaper. It's not the same strength. It's different products. They don't have anybody there that can give you good advice, y'all. It's different. A pool business is in the business because they're experts, because the majority. Now,
not all of them.
Yeah, not all, but I mean, there's the fly-by-night.
Sure.
But pool companies, they work hard to perfect their trade, and they work hard in their trade, and they're not marking these things up like y'all think they are. Y'all, pool guys are not running around in $150,000 cars, living in $1 million homes, and it's not that way. Most are struggling to make it, and the guys that don't charge enough, the first time something goes bad, that's when they disappear on you. And now you can't get a hold of them because they screwed up your pump. They can't afford to replace your pump because they messed it up. Or they didn't even mess it up. You're just accusing them of messing it up. It just went bad and you're blaming them. And they can't afford it. One little thing goes wrong and they can't afford to fix it, and then they disappear on you. Pool companies work hard. A good pool company, it's like any other industry, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. It's a trade. It's a real trade, y'all. It's not just some dude that can't do anything else, so he's a pool guy. It is hard work. And we understand there's DIY out there. We're not against DIY. I get it.
We love them. We have retail
people
stores.
have budgets. Well, and we got the DFW Pool Owner Group trying to help DIY. If you need me, we're here. But we understand DIY. I don't want you screwing up your pool just because you're not using my service or not using my business. So, I just wanted to, I wanted to mention this and talk about this, that pool companies are not making giant margins. They're not ripping people off for the most part. I get it. In every industry, there's people out there doing things they shouldn't do. But, but if all you care about is the lowest price and then there's a problem, you didn't get ripped off, you got what you paid for. And it's a big difference. Y'all, if you went and you bought the cheapest product and put it in and it didn't work, you didn't get ripped off, or you got the cheapest labor, the dude that would do it for $50 where everybody else is charging 150 or 200, you didn't get ripped off, you got what you paid for. You got somebody that hasn't paid for the training,
right?
Hasn't spent the years in the industry,
maybe not be licensed,
hasn't climbed that hill. A pool business is making smaller margins than most any other industry out there. I can almost guarantee on the average we're lower than most other industries. Y'all don't mind when Walmart makes a buck, but boy, you mind when the small business that pays taxes, that lives in your neighborhood, you got a problem when he makes a buck. And it's just not right. It's just not fair. I get a little fired up when people say...
You? I think you are.
I get a little bit fired up when people accuse all pool businesses of being rip-off artists because we're not. Yeah. We're, for the most part, we're good, honest, ethical companies that work hard to perfect our trades. And please learn to where that divide is. You got the cheap fly-by-night guys. He's doing pools this year. Next year, he'll be mowing lawns. And then you got the guys that have really built a business. They've got their years in the trade. They go to training. They have good relationships with manufacturers and reps. And a lot of times we only sell products that we have a good rep for, because if there is a problem with that product, then we got somebody we can go to, say, hey, Grant, I'm having a problem with this. Let me take care of you, Frank. You go to our training. We know you know what you're doing. We know you're trying. We're going to take care of you. Where if they bought some, cheap pump off of Amazon or cheap heater or whatever, they're not going to have the representation they need if they have an issue.
Sure.
So we're going to go to break, and thank you for listening to my soapbox. And please stop hating on your pool guys, y'all.
Come on now.
Pool guys is people too. Just show us some love. Be understanding. We can mess up. We can mess up. And if we're a good ethical business, if we do mess up, we can afford to fix it.
Absolutely.
And if we're not charging enough, guess what? We can't. So we'll be back in a minute.
To the deep end, what kills algae? The pool's a mess, and the water is green. How much acid? How much chlorine? You tested the water, but what does it mean? Take a dive into the deep end. What kills algae? Is it safe to... So take a dive into the deep end.
Hey friends, welcome back to the Deep End with Frank and Jacque. We are talking about
Problems people are running into. Yeah,
Problems
the
people
summer.
are running into this summer because
Yeah.
it's already hot.
Yeah, no, it's
HOT in Texas.
people are talking about their waters already,
And they're- yeah.
and I don't understand why, y'all. Because we haven't hit the hundreds.
Yeah.
We've been in the mid 90s, and our water's still climbing up into the 90s on a
Yeah.
lot of these pools, and it's disheartening for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they want to enjoy their pools, but they
It's
can't.
June. It's July now.
Yeah, and
End
there's
of June,
things you
July,
can
yeah.
do, y'all. I'm hunting these people down. They make a disc that you throw on the pool, kind of like those things you throw on to help hold heat.
yeah.
But now there's this product apparently that helps cool the water. Who knew?
Let's do
I'd
it.
never heard of it, so I'm trying to track them down. Hopefully, that's something that we can get a deal for our DFW pool owner group
There you
people.
go.
And I think they're out of McKinney, Texas.
Put it
Who
in one
knew?
of our giveaways.
Yes. By the way, giveaways. We gave away $500 in June. Thank you. We gave away $500 in June to one of the DFW area local Poolwerxes. Some people come in, they can get $500 exchange in product at whatever Poolwerx is more convenient to them. We got 9 in the area. I'll list them on the screen. But this month, in the month of June, we're giving away $5,000. Y'all, it's 3 prizes. I guess the consolation prize is what you call it, is $500 that you can exchange for goods or services at a local Poolwerx.
Sure.
Some restrictions apply, of course. Second prize,
Second runner-up.
runner-up prize.
Runner-up prize. Yeah.
Is Jackie? No. The runner-up prize is $1,000 in goods or services from your
Y'all.
local DFW area Poolwerx, and our grand prize is $3,500 in goods or services
I want
from
$3,500.
a DFW local Poolwerx. This is fantastic. We're getting some sponsorship from Poolcorp, which is one of our main
Yeah.
suppliers. We're getting sponsorship from Texas Pool Supply, which is Heritage Pool
Woohoo.
Supply, and we're
They're
we're getting
awesome.
sponsorship from Fluidra, the manufacturers of Jandy and
Nice.
Polaris products, and of course the local Poolwerx are also all kicking in also. So this is fantastic. This is fantastic. It's a great giveaway. So make sure, if you're in the DFW area, make sure you join the group. Look for the post for the July giveaway. It will be tagged in the featured at the top of the page, and make sure you sign up. You just go in, you comment Poolwerx, and you also have to subscribe to our How to Swimming Pool page. You can find that YouTube, www.youtube.com/@Deep in Frank. And so make sure if you're in the DFW area, make sure you join the group and make sure you put in for this drawing, because it's a nice prize, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. What I want to talk about is the things. One, people's pools are getting hot, so they're starting to have trouble. The hotter the water gets, the more difficult it is to manage. Your LSI goes up the hotter the water gets. And so you can start having some scaling issues, but also algae is just chugging along full bore, y'all. We've been getting a lot of rains, which introduces algae. And I just want to make sure everybody's focusing on, one, your water balance. Don't forget about your water balance. This is when you'll scale your pool. So you want to make sure you have that LSI down there close to 0. If you're having trouble with your pH climbing a lot, and you're constantly, you're only testing it once a week and you're having to add a half gallon or 3/4 gallon of acid, especially if you have a salt pool and you're having to push it way down. All right, start doing half doses, y'all, halfway through the week. Stop doing these high spikes in your pH and start limiting them. Don't 3/4 gallon, 3/4 gallon, 3/4 gallon. Let's do, half that more often, and not let the pH get so far out of whack, and give algae a chance to get going. Let's allow scaling to start happening. So let's monitor that much, much closer. Let's also watch our CYA levels. The hotter the water gets, the more chlorine we're adding. So if you're not really managing your water well, especially if you're not on borates, you're adding a lot more chlorine tabs And those chlorine tabs they're 50% stabilizer, which is a problem in our pools. So everybody's CYAs are climbing, and we all know the math. If you follow my show, you know the math. The proper amount of chlorine that you need in the water with a decent pH is 7.5% of your stabilizer or CYA level. So the higher your stabilizer level gets, the more chlorine it takes. So the more tabs you're adding, so the more stabilizer you're getting, so the faster your CYA climbs, and it just gets out of control. So let's watch that. We can follow, you don't have to just tab. You can also back that up with maybe some superchlorinating with some liquid chlorine along with your tabs to help oxidize some of that stuff so the chlorine from your tabs doesn't have to. You can maybe cool the water. Shade works fantastic, y'all. Shade helps cool the water, helps slow down the algae growth. And it helps us manage it a little bit better. But you got to watch that chlorine, guys. You got to keep that chlorine up there. If you have, say you have a salt system and you're running it at 60%, and every week when you test it, you're not hitting that 7.5%. Let's say you're only hitting 4% or 5%. You're not killing algae faster than it multiplies. So, and the problem with salt systems is they have to really struggle to try to overcome problems. They're very good at maintaining, but they're not really good at overcoming. So if you've fallen short and you haven't been killing the algae faster than it can multiply, then you need to dose it with something else, like a liquid chlorine or a calcium hypochlorite shock, or if it's a salt pool, I don't mind using a dichlor. It has a little stabilizer in it, and in salt pools, sometimes you have to add stabilizer, but you have used that to give it a spike to overcome the issue and then turn your salt cell up so it's producing more chlorine. Y'all, and on salt systems, the superchlorinate option that you get on a salt system, y'all, it can't produce much more chlorine. When a salt system is producing chlorine, it's producing all the chlorine it can produce. You're just cutting the amount of time with the percentage that you set it at. So they typically run on 2-hour or 3-hour cycles. So if it's a 2-hour cycle cell and you have it set at 50%, then it's going to work for an hour. All it can work for an hour, then it's going to be off for an hour, then it's going to work for an hour, then it's going to be off for an hour. As long as it has flow and it is energized, it will be producing at that percentage of time, not an extra amount of chlorine when it's working. So a lot of people, they end up at 100% or 80%, and they cannot keep up with the chlorine demand on the pool. So you need to supplement. You can use chlorine tabs with a salt system. You're not hurting anything. It's just another way to get chlorine in there, and you can get past this really rough time where you need extra chlorine by putting a chlorine floater in the pool. Be careful not to let it get stuck on your tanning ledge or whatever, because those tabs are very acidic and they can leave a scar. But if it's floating around the pool just nice and well, then maybe supplement with a little bit of chlorine tab to help you get through this rough spot until, okay, I'm keeping up very, very well again. I can get rid of the chlorine tabs, just let the salt system keep up. Maybe superchlorinate once in a while to oxidize anything. If you fell short, got a heavy rain, had a party, dog pooped in the pool, whatever, let's get something in there to spike that chlorine, oxidize all those organics, oxidize all that algae that's been kicking your butt for the last couple of days, and then let the salt cell do its thing, and then the supplemental chlorine takes care of the problems and helps take some of the load off the chlorine that your salt cell's trying to generate. You can also put an inline tab feeder with a salt system. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure you follow instructions, install it properly in the right sequence, and then you can have an inline chlorine feeder along with a salt system. Nothing wrong with that at all. Or you may want to use liquid chlorine or dichlor or calcium hypochlorite, whatever you want to use, but don't expect a salt system to overcome issues. If it's already pushed near its limits, it's not going to overcome, y'all. It's going to stay behind. And the more you stay behind, the more problems you get, and the more it costs, and the more effort it takes to get back in charge of your pool. So let's get on this. Let's not lose our pools. Let's make sure we're keeping that chlorine at 7.5% of our CYA or stabilizer. If you're using borates, and you can use borates with your salt pools, nothing says you can't use borates with that. It has the same benefits, even some better benefits with salt than it does with tab pools. So you can get 50 parts per million, 60 parts per million of borates in the pool, and then that's going to help your chlorine go further that your salt system is generating. Or if you're a tab pool, because if you're using borates, it's 5% of your CYA, not 7.5. 5's 1/3 less than 7.5. It's 50% more from 5 to 7.5. So it's easier for your salt system to keep up, to kill algae faster than it multiplies. So the borates is going to help you with your tab pools. You're going to be adding less tabs to keep that same residual. So if you're adding less tabs, you're adding less CYA, because these tabs are 50% CYA. So add less tabs, you add less CYA. So if your CYA is lower and you're going a percentage off your CYA, that means you need less chlorine. So you're adding less tabs. And see what we're doing here? We're kind of helping ourselves out. And then as soon as the water gets cool, fall, well, I know we're talking 4 months from now, the water temperature drops below 70 degrees. Now we get off of tabs altogether. Even if you're a tab pool, algae's gone dormant. We just have to super chlorinate once in a while, or shock. People are going to freak out when I say the word shock. We're going to super chlorinate to wipe out everything that got in the last couple of weeks, because it's just kind of falling in, sitting there. We throw in the hand grenade, blow it up, it goes away. Little super chlorinate, 7, 8, 9 parts per million. And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, chlorine drops down below 1 part per million. Do it again. And now come next spring, over the winter, since we haven't been added stabilized chlorine, our CYA levels drop over the winter, and we go in the next spring at a nice low level, and we got plenty of room to climb during the summer and not have problems next year either. How cool is that, y'all? And if you got a big old massive pool and you just can't keep up, okay, or you got a pool that, you got 3 dogs that swim, or you got these other issues going on that you just cannot get enough chlorine in the pool, this is when I recommend we start doing the other things. If it's becoming too hard to kill the algae faster than it can multiply under normal methods, now is a really good time to really look into doing the other things. The Blu-ray XL, which really helps control algae, so it takes less chlorine to kill it faster than it multiplies, so we can keep up. Phosphate removers, enzymes, watch your metal levels if you're using anything that has metal in it. I don't like using algicides on a regular basis, y'all. Chlorine's the best algicide we got, but if we're in a situation where we cannot keep up with our normal methods, or it's just too overwhelming to do it that way, okay, let's look at our phosphates. Let's look at controlling those well. Let's get Blu-ray XL in there to help manage the organics in the water much, much better. Let's look at enzymes to help oxidize some of the things so our chlorine doesn't have to. So let's get through this hot part of the summer and get on the other side and say, you know what? That was not that bad. That was the easiest summer I've had. Still got the 5 basics. Still need to be brushing once a week. You still need to be keeping the debris out of the pool because leaves, sticks, stuff like that, dirt is releasing minerals and stuff that algae eats. So we want to keep that out of the pool. Circulation. I cannot stress good circulation enough. Just try to get water everywhere in the pool. And the easiest way to do that is get that pool turning clockwise or counterclockwise.
Right.
I like taking the jet slightly down, not hitting the surface, going slightly down, all going the same direction. You can get side slotted jets in areas where you can't get enough angle out of those directional jets. So you can use a side slotted jet to go straight down the wall and get that pool turning in a big circle. That helps eliminate dead spots so our chemistry stays consistent from point to point to point to point. And then filtration. Keep your filter clean. If you don't go too long without backwashing, open up that filter. You're having trouble. Maybe one of the first things you need to do is pull that filter apart, clean those cartridges, get better flow. Make sure you're turning the pool over enough. And down here in the South, you ain't gonna get away with 4 hours a week. It ain't, or 4 hours a day. It ain't gonna happen. The more you move the water, the better chance you have of maintaining your pool well and saving that $25, $40 a month in electricity. Well, when you buy one bottle algicide or whatever you want to use to try to maintain it or kill the algae, there goes that $40. So would you rather have a pretty pool with no problems and spend $40? Or would you rather, by paying the electric company the extra 40, or would you rather have to buy extra products and fight problems for the same price? I'm kind of in easier for the same price is better for me. All right.
Sure.
But there's a good chance you're going to save money especially if you have a variable speed pump, utilizing those lower speeds, good circulation, good filtration, turning that pool well, running longer hours. You're going to save money and you're going to have less problems. And people all of a sudden, boy, wouldn't it be cool if everybody woke up and everybody's listening to Rudy Stankwitz and everybody's listening to Frank and you're doing what we say. And all of a sudden, nobody anywhere says, I'll never own another pool. All I do is dump all money in my pool. All right, let's get on top of that, y'all. It's $100,000 investment sitting in your backyard.
You can do it.
Take care of it. You can do this. You can do it. Come on now. All right. Thank you, all our sponsors,
Yes.
Blu-ray XL, Cyclone Filter Tools, See You Later, Metal Eliminator,
Fluidra, yeah.
which is the manufacturers of Jandy and Polaris Pool Products, and they got a few other product lines, CMP, and of course, Poolwerx. If there's not a Poolwerx near you, become the Poolwerx near you, or I'll become the Poolwerx near you. And guys, keep listening. Check out our Facebook page. If you're in the DFW area, make sure you join that DFW Pool Owner group. The
if
giveaways.
You're in the DFW area, come see us.
Yeah, come see us.
At one of our locations. You're going to put those on the screen,
and if
100%.
And if you're anywhere near me, get on schedule to do a pool school. If you think if you're the DIY guy, you just can't afford a service.
He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, it takes about 2 hours. It's pretty in depth.
Man.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever walked away and somebody said, man, that wasn't worth it. Well, first of all, I do them for free.
Yeah.
So it's kind of worth
Free pool school.
Free.
Right here.
We may have to change that where we have to charge like $150, but give them 150 credit in a store or something. But
we might do that. That might be good.
That might be good.
For sure.
But, all right. Thanks, guys, and we will see y'all next week.
Y'all
Thank you for being patient, waiting for us. Boy, it's been a rough few weeks.
People thought we died.
Yeah. So I thought I died.
And here we are.
Yeah. Y'all take care.
Y'all have a great week.